Jefferson County Court Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session with the trial docket. First case we have is cause number M327556. Case is style of State of Texas versus Kimberly Michelle Barton. Ms. Barton, would you please come forward? And again, your full name is Kimberly Michelle Barton. How you doing, Ms. Barton? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Ms. Barton. You're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Rife Kimler. Attorney Kimler, how are you doing?
Well, Your Honor.
And the state is represented in this case by Attorney Kobe Hopper. Attorney Hopper, how are you doing?
Good. Thank you for asking, Judge.
And Mr. Kimler, what's your announcement?
Correct.
State?
Judge, this is one that we announced last time at the trial like yesterday, that the state was relying on another prosecutor who was supposed to have sent the subpoenas out and did not. So therefore, I was stuck with the cases we're not ready to try. And one of those cases, one of the three we have left is mine, and I sent the letters on that we were willing to try today. However, it's been worked out. This one we're asking for a continuance on due to the fact that another lawyer had it and was filling in for a lawyer that has resigned. I understand the implications of that, Judge. I understand the responsibility of the state, but that's where we're at. So we're at the mercy of the court.
Defense?
If he needs more time, I don't know.
Okay.
Get it the date and we can try it.
That's all.
Okay. Just,
And I'm responsible.
okay.
That's it.
Okay, hold on. We'll wait for our court coordinator to give you a reset. I'm gonna just have a seat, Ms. Barton. And
Well, let's see, so
okay. Next case is cause number M332870, case of Styles of State of Texas versus Tanya Nutter. Ms. Nutter, your full name is Tanya Nutter?
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing, Ms. Nutter?
Fine.
That's good. Ms. Nutter, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Rife Kimler. Attorney Kimler, what's your announcement in Ms. Nutter's case?
Ready. Ready.
State?
state's got the same announcement on this case, Judge, as Ms. Martin's case, exactly. So
But yesterday it was just one case. How is it
No, it
two
was
cases
both.
today?
it was both, Judge. It
You
was-
told me it was one that, what's
It
the
was
guy's
one that
name?
was mine, was I said.
Ray Shearer was supposed to do something that he didn't do.
On
And now you
No.
didn't tell me about this one. This had
Nutter
something.
and Barton. Right, I told Rife yesterday in court, Judge, it was both those cases. One out of the three were mine, and I did, and that was Guidry. So Ray Shearer, both of these cases were. That's what I represent. I never represent anything else but that, Judge. So it was one out of the three was mine, and we'd be ready to do it. And the court responded to me saying, well, if as long as we got one, then that's okay.
Yeah, what's the next available, what's the next trial? The next trial?
With Ms. being here.
The next trial? Was the 5th of
June 5th.
June. Okay,
I'll get him ready to.
and what's the trial after that? The next one after the 5th?
We have the 12th and we already have another one trial.
We can still put him on there. I mean, that number one don't mean they don't go, because sometimes they may plead.
Okay, so which day are we putting Barton?
She's the oldest case. You're gonna put her on the 5th.
And I'll send those videos up today. Judge.
And this is
No,
Nutter, we're
Nutter.
gonna do June 12th.
Yeah, the next one. Yeah, because Nutter, this is Barton is a 2020 case, Nutter is a 2021.
That Barton will be 3 years old in June.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a 20, yeah.
Nutter's-
No, but I mean, you know, you got just have to send out letters. I mean, I don't know how difficult that is. Send out a letter. And you just done burn the whole jury. Behind that.
Well, we moved on.
Well, yeah, but we got a doctor to move. That was gonna move anyway. Yeah. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is now in session. The court is in session in cause number M332870. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Joseph Dennis Guidry. Mr. Guidry, is that your full name?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Guidry, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Guidry, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Guidry, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Guidry?
Doing pretty good, Your Honor. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Guidry, you're represented in your case by your attorney, Attorney Wright Kimler. Attorney Kimler, how are you doing?
I'm still doing well, Your Honor.
Mr. Guidry, I have before me a document. Well, first of all, Mr. Guidry, the state is represented in this case by Attorney Kobe Hallpower. Attorney Hallpower, how are you doing?
Good, Your Honor. Thank you for asking.
And Mr. Guidry, I have before me a document that is titled Information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office.
Sir.
In this information, it alleges that you, Joseph Dennis Guidry, on or about March 31st, 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Mr. Guidry, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Guidry, how do you plead guilty?
I think, Judge, I apologize, but I believe we're abandoning the 0.15 and proceeding to the DWI first.
Okay, Mr. Guidry, the state is abandoning 1.5 allegation in the information. They are proceeding with a Class B DWI.
Yes, sir.
And so I'll repeat this to you. This information alleges that on or about March 31st of 2022, while you was Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Mr. Guidry, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, Your Honor.
And to discharge, Mr. Guidry, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Guidry, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials, JDG, that are on a line next to a box that says check guilty.
Yes, sir.
Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
On page 3 of this same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
On the next document, Mr. Guidry, this document is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is this your signature on the line that is titled defendant?
Yes, Your Honor.
At the top of the same document, there are two boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
The next box that's checked states that you are waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that is titled defendant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Guidry, before you sign and initial these documents, did your attorney, Mr. Kimler, go over these documents with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you read and understand
Let me take that down.
everything in these documents?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Guidry, are you a citizen of the United States? State. I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1 into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Without objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted into evidence. Mr. Kimmler, you have advised and counseled Mr. Guidry. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Guidry, your attorney, Mr. Kimmler, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Guidry, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement in Mr. Guidry's case?
We do, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
In exchange for a plea guilty and the case where we abandoned the 0.15 blood alcohol content, Your Honor, we in exchange for a plea of guilty, we agreed to recommend 90 days in jail, probated for 1 year, a $600 fine, court costs, 60 hours community-based service, and all the standard terms and conditions that come with a DWI probation, Your Honor.
That's correct.
Okay, Mr. Guidry, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not be required to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail in this case because you will be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $600 plus court costs of $417. You will also be required to pay you will also be required to pay $60 a month for a probation fee, $15 each month for a drug fee. You will also be required to pay $15 for a reimbursement fee to the county. You will also be required to pay $125 for the DWI education and initial evaluation fee on the day of the plea. Now, should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you will be required to pay each month while you're on probation is $176 a month. Will you be able to pay the $176 each month?
Yes, Your Honor.
You will also be required to perform 60 hours of community service. You'll be required to attend and complete a DWI education class, and you will be required to have a drug and alcohol assessment, and you'll be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of DWI probation. Mr. Guidry, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, Your Honor. Absolutely do.
Now, do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Guidry, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Mr. Guidry, this will conclude your case. You're going to stand in front of our court coordinator to my immediate right. You will follow her directions. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.